This is another Poor Production Values video by Richard Green, and this one is on the topics of inventing new sciences. First, I want to invent a science of arts, making arts prescribable. That is, finding a measure of the greatness of a work of art and a measure of the power and type of impact it can have on lives in terms of a framework of viewing all arts as ways that humans manage their own emotions in life. And that people who turn to arts are doing so to manage their emotions in life, and people whose emotions are unmanaged, like men in businesses where they think they don't have emotions because all the people around them are men having the same wild, ridiculous, I'm going to defeat you, I'm going to be on top of you, monkey emotions all the time. So it's water they swim in, so they think it's not emotion. But it's, to any reasonable objective observer, it's a zoo of monkey behaviors driven by hormones, and very few brains are bigger than the hormones driving them into their pitiful competitive behaviors. So a science of art is finding out measures for the greatness of work of art, and I've done first work on that by interviewing 150 artists, great artists, by the way, in 63 different areas of art. And then I've interviewed 150 people who claimed they were greatly affected by art, the customer side of that equation. And then from them both, I got 64 fundamental purposes of all arts. And artworks that enact more of those purposes turn out to be greater and end up with higher auction prices. As far as I know, I'm the first person to find anything that can reliably, although with small levels of reliability, predict the future auction prices and greatness of a work of art. Now I'm working on a project to mid-composition, by intervening in artworks in mid-composition from established artists, give them a diagnostic sheet from our 64 purposes of which purposes are enacted in the work thus far and which are not, and seeing whether that one intervention alone increases the average greatness of the works of art they compose. That's cool. I think that's cool. Number two, totalization science. Total quality is the primary theory of business all over the world. It was not invented by any American business professor or business school. Quite the contrary. They ignored it for 30 years, and then in 1990, when they finally could turn to the web and stop looking toward Japan, they were so relieved they didn't have to pay any attention to Japan anymore. However, it became the dominant paradigm of business, and it guided the application of the web to business. The horizontal, across everything processes that the web has empowered. That was the theory of business from total quality in Japan. Not only that, but total quality was an anti-culture to ordinary Japanese management culture, invented in the late 1950s to fix three fundamental weaknesses of Japanese management culture, in the same way that Silicon Valley is an anti-culture to American East Coast culture. So, and then totalization science is the fact that total quality was found by taking a body of knowledge and totalizing it in about 20 ways, and then globalizing it in about 20 ways. The U.S. stopped doing quality with Six Sigma, which was controlled by old consultants who lost their jobs when Japanese gurus took over consulting in America. And they fought back, and finally they created Six Sigma and used that to win by stopping quality development in America. Now, quality did not stop in the world, it only stopped in the United States. And the Japanese added 20 globalizations to this body of knowledge, in addition to the totalizations that made it dominant worldwide. So the question is, what other bodies of knowledge, if totalized in the same 20 ways and globalized in the same 20 ways, would have worldwide power equally? And I've got an article on this. Meta-science. This is systems engineering, culture engineering, and knowledge dynamics engineering. These are three meta-sciences that cut across all traditional fields and professions, and that work really powerfully in two ways. They improve, and they help determine who rises to the top of traditional fields. And they are a basis for bringing and disseminating knowledge and methods and practices across fields. Audience story performance science. This is the fact that attention science is the dominant science of the human world, in the same way that Biology is the dominant science of the hard sciences world. Audience, story, performance, and attention science. The anthropological stance of liberating people from the limits of their own tribal customs and origins, and the theological stance of liberating people from the limits of the human condition itself, that these are extraordinarily deep yearnings in everyone every day, and people who tap into that become performers and create great stories and attract attention with what they do. Number 5, culture science. This is the fact that all of our graduate schools and colleges and the training methods and management leadership tactics control 1% of the brain that's conscious and do not control 99% of the brain that actually goes on every day. And now we have the research to show that the 99% of the brain is actually determining what our agenda is, what we do next, and where we turn our attention. And the conscious brain is following, not determining and leading that stuff. Therefore, culture science is the turn toward learning how to influence that 99% of unconscious stuff. It's actually setting our agenda and determining what we notice, rather than pretending that the conscious 1% that we do influence with schools and training and leadership now, pretending that that's everything, which turns out to create disasters because we're missing what really is going on. Creativity, innovation, and design science. This is the fact that you have to go to 12 academic centers and departments in any major university to cover all of the novelty sciences, the way the new gets into the life. Composing, performing, inventing, innovating, creating, designing, devising. It's ridiculous that they're all scattered in different departments. So there aren't even any journals that reach all of these people. I did an experiment of sending my first paper on creativity to 12,000 professors of creativity who are in every field, 20 different academic fields. Since there was no journal that went to them, I emailed 200 people a night for 60 days in a row using conference organizing committee lists that happen to have emails by the organizing committee's names on the web. And I got 12,000 emails to 12,000 professors, copied each email by hand myself, and because I didn't, too lazy to script it, and 200 a night, and then I got 1,100 perfunctory thank yous, thank you, Mr. Green, end of message. And then I got 990 detailed appreciations, including 2 book chapters, 1 book contract, 9-page speaking engagements, and a job offer. In a university that pays so low, I couldn't accept the job offer, but I appreciated the thought. Interface science. This is the fact that most acts of great leadership are the establishment of the right interface between parties, or the invention of new interfaces that allow parties that hitherto did not see and notice and interact with each other to interact with each other. Excellent science. This is my University of Chicago project of defining the good and excellent empirically rather than, like Plato, philosophically, religiously, ideologically, and the like.